Kia ora Aotearoa, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks very much for joining us. Well, a cold change is moving up and over New Zealand in various surges, and we've got more coming over the next couple of days, and the cold weather is going to linger into next week for some parts, especially around northern New Zealand, despite the fact that a subtropical system will be lying around northern areas. So we'll try and cover all of it and make sense for you. Here is the current wind map with the temperatures put onto it. Antarctica down here. Here is the big cold southerly coming up. It's just missing, for the most part, the South Island, but it is going out towards the Chatham Islands. There is going to be a colder southerly moving through at times over the next 36 hours or so, more of a polar change coming in for some parts of the South Island. So even though there might be a slight warm up here and there, we're not done yet with the cold. It lingers really until next week in many places, although the lower South Island will see a slight warming up by the time we get to Sunday. But then it's the North Island's turn, at least on the eastern side, to get that cool down. For example, Napier has a high of 14 degrees and sunny today, but from Sunday through to Wednesday next week, cloudy, drizzly, and highs of only around 11 degrees. So let's try and make sense of what's going on. Tonight, it is cold along the eastern side of New Zealand. You might be a little surprised to see that Southland is either average or even a little bit above average. Now, that's surprising to some of you with a polar change coming through, but the reason why is because at this time of the year, high pressure and clear skies usually sees Southland getting some pretty big frosts. But when it's windy and cloudy, the temperature goes up. So even though we've got a polar change coming through, it's actually not too bad around Southland considering the time of year we're in overnight. But during the day, it's a different story, and you are leaning colder than average during the daylight hours because of that colder weather going through. Let's take a look at Friday's setup. Here's Antarctica, no kidding. Here's the southerly coming straight off it and towards the lower part of New Zealand. So we're not done with the southerly. It's still with us. The Chatham Islands is getting caught up in it. The South Island's getting caught up in it. And the blue line, which shows really this colder air going all the way up across New Zealand, stops around about the Auckland mark. So we all do have a temperature drop, but because of this angle, the southwesterly flow, rather than a southerly coming straight in, and a southerly would take it into Canterbury, whereas a sou'wester, you're fairly much protected in Canterbury from that. The angle of attack means that the Southern Alps and the South Island protects the North Island and the Upper South Island from getting too much in the way of severe weather. So there'll be a lot of sun out and a lot of fairly normal weather for this time of the year. It's really the lower half of New Zealand that's most exposed, and also Central Plateau. It's also going to be very windy on Friday. Otago Peninsula, you got winds gusting up over 100 k's an hour as we go through the day, and the reds and the oranges are also showing winds getting up around gale force. So it's going to be a blustery Friday in the lower South Island, blustery through the Southern Alps and the Nelson Ranges, and also around the Hawke's Bay Ranges, all looking a fairly windy day as we go through Friday. Snowfall. All right, 3 days worth of snowfall, and for the most part, what you're seeing here in the blues, not too much. Just a couple of snow flurries caught up in the rain showers, through to about 10 centimetres in the dark blue. The heaviest snowfall here in the yellow and orange is 10 to 25 centimetres of snow. Most of that is above 400 or 500 metres, maybe even higher than that. So for the most part, a lot of people won't be impacted by that, but those other snow flurries will go lower down. So northern Southland and the coastal side of Otago, perhaps a slightly higher chance of getting some snow down to lower levels, but we are not forecasting snow to sea level in any significant way. There might be, just might be, a snow flurry around the Catlins, and there will be snow flurries on the desert road as well. Hopefully at a level where they can keep the highway open, but that's not up to us as forecasters, that's up to them on the road there. So there could be some highway closures still to come over the next day or two. Let's get into the weekend. So the big southerly change pushes up across the whole country, but there is a slight change in Southland when you track the origins of the wind. So if you're in Invercargill, you follow those isobars, they're actually coming out of Australia a little more now, whereas on the other side here, straight off the Antarctic area. That means on Saturday, our friends over in the Chatham Islands are going to have a pretty wintry day, especially by Saturday night. As we get into Sunday, the Chathams are right in the thick of that storm, severe gales and wintry weather with snow flurries up along the mountains or the hilltops on the Chatham Islands. And over on the eastern side of New Zealand, now that colder air is starting to push into the North Island. But we've also got this subtropical low, and that sort of makes you think warm, wet weather coming through. There is some wet weather coming through, but it's not a huge amount. This is the 3-day rainfall accumulation starting from Sunday. There's some heavy falls up here just north of the Bay of Islands or around the Bay of Islands, 40, 50 millimetres maybe for you, but it's only in a very small area. Everyone's surrounding it sort of in the 20 to 30 millimetre zone, and around East Cape, Ruatoria area, 35 millimetres maybe for you, and then that drops right off as you go further south. The bulk of the rain and showers out at sea, so it's not a big significant system that's lying out there. So next week on Monday, there is the low, not overly aggressive. The blue line is still here lying around Auckland, so the colder change that's happening at the moment and over the next day or two, that gets locked in by the high coming through. So we'll see some frosts around here and there. But for Southland and Otago, a slight warming up, despite a little cold front there. You've got westerlies coming through from the Tasmania area. So it's not going to be very, very cold for you as we kick off next week. And by Tuesday, we've still got that low pressure to the north, pretty weak, not really significant. Still worth keeping an eye on though, because it is tapping into sort of better moisture to the north here, and north of that blue line, the moisture levels start to go up. It's drier where it's colder. So that's why we're not seeing a lot of rain further south around the country. High pressure, keeping things pretty settled, but fairly cool next week as well. And that is all from me. We'll be back again on Friday with our next update, and we've got all the maps and all the information you need over at weatherwatch.co.nz and at ruralweather.co.nz. And one last thing before I go, a shout out to everybody on YouTube. Thank you so much. We love the feedback. It is so awesome. Try to respond to it. We can't always respond to everyone, but thanks for all the feedback. We do read it, we do enjoy it, and we really do appreciate your support. We'll be back again tomorrow with our next update.